Hello, once again, ladies and gentlemen. Today, what I want to do is go over some division problems, specifically division with decimals, And so I'm going to go and use some problems from this assignment. We're here at number 3, and we're going to do a few of these. So let's just begin with number 3A. Let's begin with a very simple one, and then things will get harder as we go along. So we can see here on number 3A, we're given 51 and 6800ths divided by 8. So 51 and 6800ths divided by 8. So as we write this down, remember the first number is the one that goes inside the division box. So we have 51 and 6800ths goes inside the division box, divided into 8. So as we can see here, we do have a decimal on the inside, but remember decimal on the inside, there's nothing wrong with that. We can deal with that. All we need to do is remember that the decimal will go up here, and we just divide normally. And so in the division process, 8 cannot go into 5, but it does go into 51 6 times. 8 times 6 is 48. So now we need to subtract 51 minus 48. Now, I just know that 51 minus 48 is 3. You can actually do the subtraction process here, but we have 3 left over. All right, now let's bring down the next digit, which is 6. So 8 goes into 36 4 times. So I'm going to put the 4 over the 6. 8 times 4 is 32, and 36 minus 32 will give us 4. Next digit, bring down the 8. 8 goes into 48 exactly 6 times. 8 times 6 is 48. So ladies and gentlemen, our final answer for number 3A, or for letter 3A, will be 6 and 46 hundredths. So what I like about this one is how simple it was, how basic it was, a good reminder of how to do the division process. But what if I have a harder problem? Something significantly harder. So if you need to see that again, you can rewind. But for now, let me erase that, and let's go to letter B. Let's go ahead and do 3B. And 3B has 93 and 45 hundredths. That's the first number, divided into 6 and 23 hundredths. Now, immediately, ladies and gentlemen, you need to remember that we do not like decimals on the outside, and we do have a decimal on the outside. So what we need to do is change this into a whole number by moving the decimal over however many times we need. So in this case, I would need to move it 2 times. And since I moved the decimal on the outside twice, that means I need to move the decimal on the inside, regardless of where it is, twice as well. So since it's right here, I'm going to move it once, 2. And it just happens to go all the way to the end. But ladies and gentlemen, again, you just move it the same number of times, and wherever it lands, that's where you leave it. So now we have 9,345 divided by 623. Now that may seem difficult, but this is actually not that bad, because we know that 623 does not go into 9, and it does not go into 93, but it does go into 934 one whole time. 623 times 1 is 623. And when we subtract that, we're going to get 1, 1, 3. Bring down the next digit. All right, now that may seem very difficult. 623 into, how many times does it go into 3,150? Now, lucky for us, it fits exactly 5 times. So 623 times 5 is exactly 3,115. So that saves us. It goes in evenly. So my final answer is just 15. 15, yes. 93 and 45 hundredths divided by 6 and 23 hundredths is 15. 15 wholes. Very simple. All right, well, we've done letter A, we've done letter B. You'll do C on your own if you can, but let's go ahead and do letter D. Let's go ahead and do letter D. Now, remember, guys, that we're not going to estimate anything. We're just going to work it out, but we do need to round to nearest hundredth if necessary, meaning that if our answer has more than 2 decimal places, we need to look at that 3rd decimal place and use that one to round to the nearest hundredth, to 2 decimal places. So let's go ahead and do letter D. Here in letter D, let's see if we can figure out what the answer is. So letter D, we have 38 divided into 7. So at first glance, this seems very simple, but very quickly, you're going to see that we're going to have to do something odd here. So 7 does not go into 3, but does go into 38. It goes 5 times. 7 times 5 is 35. And 38 minus 35 is 3. Now, in middle school, we don't deal with remainders, not in the same way we did in elementary school. So we need to remember that 38 is the same thing as 38.0. All right, so same as before, since we have a decimal here, we just need to bring the decimal up, and we just need to evaluate it with that 0. So bring down the 0. All right, so 7 goes into 30 4 times, because 7 times 4. And here, let me make this division box longer. There we go. 7 times 4 is 28. So 30 minus 28 is 2. And again, same thing, 38, something is 38.0. So we have another 0 here to spare. So just bring down another 0 until it fits evenly. 7 goes into 20 twice. That's a weird looking 2. Twice. 7 times 2 is 14. And 20 minus 14 is 6. Okay, so let's keep going. Remember, we're going around to the hundredths. So right here were the hundredths, but let's see what the next digit is going to be. The next digit is going to be, well, 7 goes into 68 times, because 7 times 8 is 56. And that would give me a remainder of 4. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I could stop right there. In fact, I didn't even need to work this out down here. I did not even need to work that out. As soon as I saw that I had 8 left over, or that it fit it 8 times, I could have stopped right there, because now I can round to the hundredths place. Now, if I look at this number, 5 and 428 thousandths, I can see that the 2 is in the hundredths place. And so I need to look at the 8 next to it. Now, remember, if we have a 5 or higher, we need to add one more. 5 or more, add one more. 4 or less, let it rest. Now, the 8 is obviously more than 5, so we need to add 1 to the 2. So, guys, my final answer is going to be 5 and 43 hundredths, because we rounded to the hundredths place. So, again, I don't have to keep going. Once I figured out that my third digit was going to be more than 5, I rounded up, and that gave me 5 and 43 hundredths. Let's do another one. Let's do another one that is similar to this one, in that we're going to have to round. So, and again, if you need to rewind, you can, but let's go ahead and do letter, let's do letter E. I think E is actually the hardest one, so that'll be a good example. So for letter E, we are given, let me use a different color. Let's go ahead and do 49 and 7/10. So we have 40, sorry, there we go. So we have 49 and 7/10, and we're going to divide that into 25 and 3/10. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we do not like decimals on the outside, so we're going to take that decimal and move it over. We only need to move it over once, which means that I need to take the decimal on the inside and move it over also just once. So decimal is now right here. Decimal is now right here. All right, so let's go ahead and work this out. Now, 253 does not go into 4 or into 49, but it does go one time into 497. So that's going to be 253 times 1 is 253. And now let's subtract these two. Now 3 goes into 7 4 times. 7 minus 3 is 4. 9 minus 5 is 4. And 4 minus 2 is 2. So that gives us 244. Okay, so let's start bringing down zeros. Here's the decimal already. So we have a 0 right here. Let's bring it down. Now, 253 goes into 2,440. Now, I know it goes into it 9 times. Now, if you didn't know that, you would have to work it off on the side. So let's go ahead and do 253 times 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 5 is 45, plus 2 is 47. 9 times 2 is 18, plus 4 is 22. So notice how it barely fits. So 253 times 9 is 2,277. Let's go ahead and subtract. So I do need to borrow here. It becomes a 3, it becomes a 10. So 10 minus 7 is 3. We need to borrow again. 13. So it's 3 now. 13 minus 7 is 6. And 3 minus 2 is 1. And this is 0. So we have 163. All right, let's bring down a 0. Now we need to see what the hundredths place is going to be. Now 253 goes into, I believe it's 6 times. 253 times 6. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 31. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15. And yes, that it won't go 7. It'll be 6. So 253 times 6 is going to give me 1,518. So let's go ahead and subtract these to give us It's going to be a 2. That's going to be a 10. 2, 1, 1, 112, 112. So now we already have the hundreds place, but let's just see what the next digit would be. Remember, if it's 5 or more, we can add 1 more. If it's 4 or less, let's let it rest. So let's go ahead and bring down the 0, and let's see if it fits 5 times. Because if it's 5, at least 5, we know we're going to have to round up. It doesn't matter what it is, but if it's not 5, if it's 4 or less, then we can just leave it as it is. So let's go ahead and do 253 times 5. So 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 1 is 26. And 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. So we get 1,265. Notice that this is too much. It's too much, so it's going to have to be 4 or less, which means that we need to let this rest. So I can leave it as 1 and 96 hundredths, 1 and 96 hundredths. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it is a tedious process. It is a tedious process, but hopefully with these examples, you'll be able to engage with these problems and be a little bit more comfortable as you follow these. And with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you next time.